My research enables exploration of how undergraduates in two majors, chemistry and English, at one U.S. public university constructed identities of belonging in academic life stories, and how these stories may be understood as relating to their evaluations of what they identified as personally meaningful disciplinary writing. If I explained my research to students or people who may be interested but not familiar with the field, I'd say my research looks at the writing people do and what they're saying about that writing, how they say it, and what that tells us about how they perform their identities or their social performances of themselves in certain moments of interaction with me. So this research can potentially offer a window to assess how our classes and the writing we do in those classes are understood by students, and how that writing becomes or not part of how students explain academic aspects of themselves, their identities. Questions of diversity, equity, and inclusion are implicated in my research, from conception, data collection, data analysis, and data reporting. To illustrate, in my study, interviews, story co-construction, and narrating in the context of this study should be understood as interactions. In interactions, researchers' identity performance inevitably interact with those of students/participants, and the perceived race of interviewers has been indicated as impacting interview responses. So in my research, the fact that first generation, gender, and ethnic identity topics did not feature prominently in the stories participants co-constructed with me or individually authored for this study should be noted as a possible effect of interactions and interpretations of my performed researcher identity, especially given the wealth of scholarship that exists on the complex factors associated with students' senses of belonging in college in terms of gender identity, first generation status, and ethnic identity. AWAC is a wonderful place for people approaching writing from a variety of angles. At AWAC, you get a chance to learn about what other people are thinking about writing. You get to learn how other people are using writing in the classroom. You get to get outside of English departments and see how people in other disciplines understand, use, and teach writing. In that way, it is an enlightening experience to be in AWAC. It also helped me, with my eclectic research agenda, feel like I belong somewhere. That is what drew me to AWAC. The future of WAC for me is one in which we continue to work for engaging pedagogy across the curriculum, pedagogy that promotes critical thinking, reasonable, reflective thinking about what to do or believe, as well as a rhetorical presentation of that thinking in communication, and pedagogy that works to empower. WAC will continue to have that sort of practical function on a campus as a pedagogical resource. I hope, though, that WAC does not minimize the importance of empirical research. I hope that we learn that without data, with numbers, having numbers, for instance, that could be tallied up is important to prevent a bad actor, maybe a would-be authoritarian leader, for instance, from having the ability to spread big lies. Having that data to combat those are important. So data has to be collected, I believe, and analyzed ethically and transparently, but it is not an enemy. It has its limitations, as scientific approaches always acknowledge, but it's an important tool, I think. Therefore, I support rigorous, transparent research to support and continue to explore writing across the curriculum and in the disciplines.